What's up, everybody, man? Welcome back into the Bluebloods, man. This is an interview that's been a long time coming. Me and my guy had to get some scheduling things worked out, but we got Jackson State defensive back, kick returner, Isaiah Bolden of FCS All-American, all SWAC selection. Just went out to the NFLPA Bowl and showed out, getting a lot of hype going into the NFL draft. But Zay, man, appreciate you joining the show. How have these past few weeks been for you, man?
Man, it's been busy, man. Work, meetings, all types of stuff. It's been busy. 6 days a week.
I it'll all be worth it in the end, man, when hearing your
Yeah.
name called when we get to April. But starting off, before we get into all the recent things, man, looking back at your career, when you look at everything you went through from the stop at Florida State to your time at Jackson State, what is one accomplishment or one accolade that you've had or one moment in your career that you look back on that you're most proud of?
Being an All-American was one. That was a big thing for me. I can tell my kids that, tell my family that I'm All-American. That winning a SWAC championship twice. That's something big. I left college with with one or two rings. So those are the main things: is winning and just getting the accolades of being an All-American. Those were the biggest things for me.
When you look back at your transfer from Florida State to Jackson State, now that we have hindsight and we can kind of look back on that decision, what was it that stuck out about Jackson State, and what is your message to other players in the transfer portal about what they need to be, I guess, looking for to make the right decision like you did?
Um, Going into the transfer portal, I was stuck between Texas A&M and Jackson State. And then, I went with Coach Prime because I felt like I trusted him more, and I felt like he'll develop me as a player. My advice to any guys in the transfer portal: this you can't mess this decision up. This is your big decision in your life. It's rare to get into transfer portal more than twice. So my advice for them is go where you fit in, go where you're needed, and do what you expect to do.
And one of the big messages on this show is I tell people all the time, man, listen, the skilled positions at the FCS level, there is not a drop off
Yeah.
really from FCS, from FBS to FCS, even Power Five for most schools. When you look back at the competition and practice, I mean, with Nugget, with yourself, with Travis coming in this past year, with all the wide receivers you guys had, what was the competition like day in and day out at practice between the DBs and wide receivers at Jackson State?
Man, that was war, man. I mean, it was very competitive. I mean, you got to bring your A game every day, or you're not gonna play. You know how Coach Prime and how those guys dictate what your playing time is your practice. One-on-ones be very intense. Perimeter drills be very intense. So, but it really just molded us into better players. I feel like we had one of the top FCS receiving groups. I'm out here working out in Dallas, and we everybody asks us. They were like, "Oh man, how's Jackson?" Or like they say, "We watch you all the time on Twitter and social media like that." So it's just kind of cool, like knowing a lot of eyes were on us.
When you look at the fact that you guys were undefeated in the SWAC these past 2 seasons, won 2 SWAC championships, what made these two teams so special? How were you guys able? Because I hear this a lot. You can't recruit from the transfer portal heavy because the team doesn't build chemistry. That it's hard to build any sort of camaraderie. But you guys overcame all that and won 2 straight SWAC championships. Behind the scenes, what was that like for you guys?
It was two different teams, honestly. That first team, we got real close. I would say we were real close because like that situation with Coach Prime, our whole motto was do it for him. What he been through, we never complain after that. Seeing him come to practice out of the hospital and stuff like that, and his fingers, his toes get amputated. We kind of like took on that swagger. And then the second team, it was more of a dominate. We knew we was better than everybody. We wanted just to beat you. So the reason why those teams are so special because they had different personalities. That first team was more like family, and then that second team was more of a. We were very competitive, so everybody wanted to be the top dog on that team. So it was more of a dominant mindset than the first team.
And I know it's going to be tough to look back on, but I'd be remiss to ask the preparation for this year's Celebration Bowl. After the SWAC championship, Prom announces he's accepted the Colorado job. There's a lot of talk just in the media around just about the distraction and the preparation. Do you feel like it was a big distraction for you guys? Do you feel like it really impacted you guys at all of what happened in Atlanta?
Oh, I mean, we call it what it had impact. Of course, it had impact. There's no excuse for what happened in the game. But it definitely had an impact on us. You know, some guys decided to enter the transfer portal before the game and whatnot. Other guys didn't decide not to show up to practice or stuff like that. So it did, leave a toll on us. But in the day, we should have finished our job where we started.
I love the mindset there too. But looking at you as a kick returner, I'll be honest. I played offensive line. I always say, we're tough. It's hard to play offensive line, but the one position I know, even if I could athletically play, kick return and punt return just seems like a madman position to let everyone get a 40-yard head start on you, and then
Yeah.
you got to catch the ball and somehow make it work. What are the keys for you to being a good return specialist? Because there's only a few that have been able to do it at a really high level, and you're one of the top just college football return specialist. How were you able to develop that? And what are the keys to being so great at that?
It's three things. One, you gotta be fearless back there. You gotta real fearless. Two, you gotta set up your blocks. You gotta know your assignment. You gotta know your blocker assignments. And three, you just gotta make one or two moves and just go. You can't think. You just gotta go, and you gotta believe every time you touch the ball, you're gonna score.
And I've seen you on social media. I've heard you in other interviews talk about you don't want to just be relegated to being a return specialist. You said, listen, I got the defensive back skills as well. When you look at your time at Jackson State, looking you moving on to the NFLPA Bowl, is that something that you wanted to prove this season? And now this offseason for the NFL draft is just proving to everyone that Isaiah Bolden is not a return specialist. I'm a complete player on all sides of the football.
Yeah, of course. My junior year when I got to Jackson, got injured. Early in the camp, it set me back a couple of games and whatnot. That's why I came onto the scene late that season. And I dominated the return thing. And then this year, I had a real mindset of telling everybody I'm not just a return, I'm a DB for real. And I feel like I could be one All-American to play in DB too. And that's been my motto all season. You see me in the nickel, you see me at safety, you see me at corner throughout the season. And I'm pretty sure, like the scouts said, I caught the odds doing that versatility. And then went to the NFLPA game, and my mindset there was just to dominate and really like put my foot on people's necks, and let the scouts know, like, yeah, I'm really a top DB.
When you look at your versatility as a defensive back, it's great to be able to play all these positions. Where do you feel most comfortable though? Is it in the slot? Is it boundary corner? Is it at safety? When you look at your game to go into the next level, where do you feel most comfortable with your game?
Put me at boundary. Boundary corner, you got to tackle and you got to cover your man one on one. I love battles like that. I feel like I can handle myself with anybody. That's just my mindset. But boundary corner is where I feel more comfortable at.
When you look back on your experience at the NFLPA Bowl, what was some feedback you got from coaches and scouts about your game? And just looking back at your overall experience, how would you grade it overall?
Going into NFLPA game, I had a lot of questions about can I cover on the outside, can I move, can I compete with the top guys. I felt like I answered that. The scouts enjoyed my week there. Like I pretty much made good money out there. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I held it down. But the scouts are telling me right now is great week, great preparation. Now they're gonna see the speed, if the speed's legit or not. And if the speed's legit, we looking like we're gonna get drafted.
Man, I know I'm rooting for you. And speaking of getting drafted, the first player in the I guess you can call it the prime era, or even now the TC era, James Houston last year got drafted. Have you talked to him at all about his experience in the NFL and just how you should prepare going into it? And what would it mean to you to be the next Jackson State player drafted in the NFL draft?
Me and James talked. When I was out there, he looked out for me. We talked, whatnot. He told me how it is up there and what's your mindset gonna be. And then like I said, if I get drafted, me, Aubrey, Dallas, Nugget, any one of us, I feel like it's a blessing. We got to carry that torch. I feel like guys like the Kobe, Joshua, James, those guys set a foundation for us, and then we're the next, next up. And after that, we got to set a foundation for the guys behind us. I feel like that's kind of like an HBU thing. That's why we're so tight.
We even looking back at Jack State, you were kind of the senior leader this year. Who are some DBs that are still at Jackson State that we should look out for because we got to replace Nugget, Travis transfers, you graduate as well. Who are some guys that you see still at Jackson State that you really think could have breakout years this year?
K5. I know those guys wanted me to stay another year. I couldn't do it, man. I was ready to go to the league, but K5, he had a pretty decent year this year. He got banged up. Jalen Hughes, 27. He was banged up earlier this year as well. Then my boy D'Lo, safety number 29 last year. He's coming in from Georgetown. He was there last year. Kind of slowly got his way into it. And then young guys like Anthony Petty. That's a dog right there. He worked his ass off every day. I mean, he kept me going. I mean, he not be the biggest guy, but he gonna work his ass off, and I respect that from him. I think that's pretty much the guys that I know, and then I know they got some new dudes coming in, so I would definitely be on the lookout. We're going to their spring game as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I know Asias was a big pickup from Delaware State. It was a freshman All-American over there at Delaware State. It'll be huge. Is there a team? And I don't know who you rooted for growing up or anything. Is there a team that you it would be like a dream come true to be drafted to?
Man, I mean, obviously, whoever picks me up, I'll be happy. But
Yeah.
I got Tampa tatted on me for a reason, so I'm a Tampa boy. So if God forbid that happens, I know the family gonna love it. But whatever team gets me, will not. But I do have my favorite Tampa and the Raiders, but it is what it is.
Listen, my mom was born in Tampa. I still got family down in Tampa. Man, listen, I need an Isaiah Bolden Tampa jersey if that happens, man.
Yeah.
I love Tampa, man. I know, man. My family would be happy. They're all Tampa fans too. But when you look at just, I guess, James' success, you mentioned Jacoby's. I mean, Joshua was playing in the Super Bowl
Yeah.
this Sunday, man. How are you preparing yourself to make an instant impact as a rookie? Do you feel like playing special teams will help you? And for you, what do you feel like you need to improve on your game to make a day one impact for whatever NFL team you get drafted to?
Um, First off, the quickest way getting the field is special teams. So whether if I got to be a gunner, a hold up guy, hopefully a returner, but that's my contribute right there. Day one off the rip, I want to contribute doing special teams, and then compete for a job, of course, in the league on defense. Whatever the coach wants me to do on defense. I know I got to earn their trust, and whatnot, and I'm gonna learn from the guys in there. I'm coming there with a easy minded head. I'm gonna learn from the older guys and the vets, stuff like that.
When you look at your game, like I want you to look at freshman going into Florida State, Isaiah Bolden, and compare him to the guy I'm talking to right now. What is the one single thing in your game that you feel like evolved the most over your college career?
How smart I got and my versatility. If you had told me my freshman year, my first 2 years at Florida State, that I was gonna play nickel, I'd look at you crazy. If I was gonna play safety, I'd look at you crazy. Just my versatility. Like I never thought I was gonna be playing nickel like I did as much as like I did last year, and then, and it really showed how smart I was because I could move around. So those are two things I say I'm most proud of.
And just some lighthearted questions here. I always like to throw these out, man. Get to know the player a little bit. One, what's your NFL comp for you? Where do you feel like your game models the most? Who's playing in the NFL right now?
Oh man, I people always tell me this, but Cromartie with
Oh yeah.
a little taste of Kenny Moore. So
Ooh.
yeah, Cromartie and a little taste of Kenny Moore.
Hey, can't go wrong with Cromartie, man. I like it.
Yeah,
I like that one. And then trash talking. Listen, I had a defensive back. Listen, my guy Justin Ford over at Montana, who's also going to the draft this year. Shout out to Justin. He said, "You can't be a good defensive back if you don't talk trash."
the fact.
His famous quote. How much of a trash talker are you on Saturdays when you guys get in between those white lines?
Oh, I'm bad. Oh, I'm real bad. And I ain't gonna lie, I get real disrespectful too. Like if you go back and start watching more games, you can kind of see like there'd be moments where like I'll be into it. I don't know, man. It's like a different dude comes out when I'm on that lines, man. Like I don't care. Like I get real disrespectful.
I love it. Okay, so would you call yourself the biggest trash talker on Jackson State last year? Or is there someone who could
Oh,
give you a
hands
run for
down.
your money?
Hands down on our defense. I mean, it was some stuff I'll be doing. I ain't gonna say on here, but
Yeah.
yeah, hands down.
Yeah, don't get me demonetized
Yeah,
or
yeah,
channel
yeah,
shut down
yeah.
or anything like that. But
Uh,
hey, I love the honesty there. But without giving away all your secrets, all the swag wide receivers can rest easy on this one. What's the number one mistake a wide receiver can make against you one on one?
Oh, simple. Your eyes and your hips. When you look at the hips, you if you don't get out your break fast, it's over with. That's my advice to all receivers to get out your breaks fast because the DB really gonna sit on you if you gotta have no speed. I know last year it was really any like blazers in the swag, so I would just send a whole bunch of routes.
Man, watching you guys defensively was so interesting. I think you guys were one of the only defenses that had the ability to play press man, not a lot of help over the top, and just say, "Listen, you can't do anything."
Right.
And it was so impressive. But looking back at your career, man, you got to give a little bit of credit to someone, even though I know how it is. Who was the toughest offensive player or best offensive player you ever played against? You can give me one from Jackson in practice and one from another team you played.
All right, so I'm gonna go with two guys when I played against. Justin Ross at Clemson. Oh man, he before that injury for his neck, he was a dog, man. He still is a dog. I played against him when they had Trevor Lawrence and whatnot. They gave me 2 touchdowns my freshman year. Yeah, those, and he threw some good balls. I ain't gonna lie. In the swag, man, people gonna get upset. It'll probably be Kamani. It'll probably be Kamani Everett. I,
A dog.
just a dog. No disrespect to Bethune, but everybody knew where the ball was going, and he still made plays the last 2 years. He was a dog. And then in practice, the tough receiver in practice. Oh man, this is a good one. Yeah, man, this is a good one. It's between Malachi or Dallas.
I like that.
I hope my boy Malachi, get back on that field. But yeah, Malachi or Dallas.
Yeah, and I feel like those two guys, they do it so different ways. Like Malachi's just got, like, he's so big, man. It's just
He's low key fast though. He's low key
oh yeah.
fast. Yeah.
Well, I think it was the Alabama A&M game because I was at that game. That was the first Jackson game I ever went to in person. It was at Alabama A&M homecoming where you guys put 60 on him.
Yeah.
And he exploded in that one. And then from that game on through 2 years ago, man, he was unguardable in the red zone. I mean, Shador would just throw it up there.
13 touchdowns in 4 games is crazy.
Yeah, never his pace. If he would have, been able to start from day one, would have been. I mean, he would have ran away with whatever the, he potentially could have made a run at the SWAC receiving record for touchdowns in a season. And then Dallas, I followed him at Western Illinois, and when he came in, I was like, listen, all conference guy right here, because I saw him in the MVFC doing his thing. And in terms of route running, especially like intermediate, he can't be touched, man. 2 great choices there. When and this one's going to be interesting. I want to see when you look back on your Jackson career, what's the one game that sticks out? What was your favorite game you played at Jackson State?
Oh man, so not last year, but the year before that, where we went down to Baton Rouge against Southern. Oh man, that I was telling my dad this. That was a real rival game. Like, I played in tons of rival games, Florida State versus Florida and Miami versus Florida State. I told my dad that was the second best rival game I ever played in. Like, it was crazy. Like, Florida State and Miami always gonna be number one for me, but that Southern and Jackson State game, man, we were down. I mean, they came out punches in the mouth. We were down, came back and won, and then a little scuffle at the end. But the fans, it was loud. Like, that's an environment I would love to play in every week. Like, that was one of my best games. I enjoyed watching, playing.
I tell people all the time, man. I went down to Southern Alcorn State this year. I was at that game, and it was the same way. And it was deafening. And I even think, I don't know how you feel about it, that Alcorn Jackson State game this year
was off the chain.
I mean, that was amazing. I was there, got to be down on the sidelines, and I mean, the back and forth and just the crowd. I mean, listen, anytime you have to roll in extra bleachers, for a stadium, it's huge. And the sidelines were packed, and then it was a really, really good game. I love that one. But man, before I let you get out of here, one last question. I'm sure you've been asked this in private meetings, man, but I want to get this out here. When teams ask you what is an NFL franchise going to get if they draft Isaiah Bolden when the NFL draft rolls around, what do you tell them?
A more mature guy. I'm pretty mature for my age, but you're gonna get a guy who's ready to work, ready to contribute, and ready to learn. I'm not, like I said, I'm not coming there cocky or whatnot. I'm there to learn and compete for a job. So you're gonna get a dude that's gonna compete and learn and be a good person.
Man, Zay, I appreciate you hopping on the show, man. It's been a long time coming, man. Been a big fan, and listen, when you get to the league, I'm gonna need that jersey, especially if it's a Tampa jersey. I'm gonna have to hang it up. I'm building a studio right now for the show, and that one's gonna have to be a main piece. But man, this is all about promoting the players, man, especially FCS guys who are going to the draft. I want to see a record number. I don't think there's been over 30 since like the mid 2000s. So I'm hoping we hit that this year. But man, drop your social media. Where can people contact you and what's next for you?
My social media, my Instagram is Zay Bolden, ZayBolden, 2 underscores. Twitter is Isaiah Bolden 23. What's next for me right now is training between Fort Worth and Tampa, and then get ready for this pro day, and then we got a draft party in April.
Man, well, good luck. I'm expecting you to be drafted. We talked about it yesterday on the show, and we'll definitely have to get you on, man, after you have that big rookie year that I know that we all think you're going to have. But guys, make sure to go follow Zay on all social media, man. Getting these players' platforms up to the highest they can be is so important, especially these FCS guys. But for Zay, for myself, and for the Blue Bloods, man, we are out for right now.